In Capital News tonight, million Kenyans and foreign nationals registered digitally. And Sport Simba ahead by 2 points after draw against Azam FC. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. The government of the United Republic of Tanzania has begun legal procedures to go to the Court of Appeal to appeal the High Court's ruling invalidating Section 7, Subsection 1 and Section 7, Subsection 3 of the National Elections Act.
Tarehe 13 Mei 2019 ofisi ya wakili mkuu wa serikali.
Today, on the 13th of May, the Chief Attorney's Office has presented to the referral court a notice of appeal on the decision made by the High Court, because there are some sections that the court no legal and constitutional objections, especially Section 7, Subsection 1 and Subsection 3 of the National Election Law. Those are the areas that the Chief Justice Office decided to hand over the notice on with the aim of reviewing the decision made by the High Court.
Serikali imewasilisha notice kwa ajili ya kurejea huo uamuzi wa Mahakama Kuu.
Some houses and factories have been filled with water, while several roads, such as the Morogoro Road between the fire area and Magomeni, have proven to be impassable after being submerged by rainwater.
So far, nothing has been done. We are calling on the government to take necessary measures in supporting us. Far more than 300 households have been affected.
Watu wanaishi katika open space ambapo ni jambo ambalo la hatari sana.
Unatakiwa huu utengenezwe na iwe daraja ili hapa hili.
This bridge needs to be renovated and expanded. At the same time, the riverbanks also need to be considered, since whenever the river floods affect houses surrounding it, as well as kill people who live in the area. We're insisting for people to vacate these hazardous areas because the rains are ongoing in Salaam, and NEWS.MAY have announced that they will continue until the 30th of this month. People should adhere to this directive because contrary to that, properties and lives will be lost.
At the same time, there was a traffic jam on some roads like the Morogoro and Kawawa roads. In other areas, the roofs of houses have been blown off, which is a development that made some residents ask the government to repair the infrastructure in the local government of Dar es Salaam, as it has remained untouched for a very long time.
Those living next to the Msimbazi River do not stay here anymore. Many have left to go live with their relatives, and even road services have been halted. I advise the government to build a bridge from Magomeni Mapipa to Fire, as the old system will not help us. The situation is scary. People cannot go to work. Students have been unable to go do their tests, and even I myself has not been able to go to the office.
Speaker of Parliament Job Dugai has called on the government to change its intention not to continue to implement the Bagamoyo Port project because the project is a highly productive one for the nation, and advise officials making their decisions to review their decision and, if possible, to stop everything, including construction of the standard gauge railway, and instead focus on the port project. Speaker Ndugai made the statement during the discussion session on the Ministry of Works, Transport and Communications speech, supporting some MPs who also want the project and instead for it to be implemented.
unaanza kujenga bandari, ndio unajenga reli.
It is important to start building ports and then railways. But you want to start building railways and then ports. I am pleading with you, do not leave this project. Decisions need to be made to ensure that this project is not omitted. As a parliament, we make great mistakes of omitting such projects without holding public discussions. This port is being built by Temesa. Whenever I try to follow up on the exercise, there is no one ready to cooperate. Minister, please enlighten people from Mafia on what is going on and how far the project has been completed.
Mbulu Rural Area CCM Flate Masai said that the ministry must ensure that the funds being set aside are sent, and Kigoma North MP Zito Kabwe said that the Ministry of Works has been setting aside a lot more funds, but the intended productivity is yet to be seen.
The road joining Arusha to Karatu to Mbulu to Haidom all the way to Simiyu. This road has 9 constituencies in the middle, and if they all had towns, it would help the economy of the areas grow faster. In 2015, the transport sector had grown by 14%. In 2018, it grew by 12%. Why 12%? With all the investment made, why does the level not reflect it?
The police force in Songwe region has caught a driver of a petrol transport lorry with registration number T376CJW for transporting lotion containing poison from Zambia during an operation to address crime occurring at the Tunduma border.
See that these boxes are not passing in bulk. They send one box at a time, and when the cargo is ready, then they pack it. All these cosmetics have a chemical called hydroquinone. The chemical is prohibited from touching human skin. So these fellow Tanzanians who are not honest illegally pass the cosmetics through the tankers. This car was driven by Joseph Juma Shija, who lives at Mioni Mtongani in Dar es Salaam. We have, however, captured the driver. These kinds of drivers should be punished against the law to carry cosmetics. After you have delivered the cargo, one needs to return the car safely. Drivers who stay for a long time at the checkpoint face financial challenges. One can use all the money, even though that is for his fuel. What can he do to ensure that the journey continues? That is when they do stuff like that. No one wants to be a driver for life. Everyone wants to be the boss one day.
The government has directed farmers in the country to engage in productive farming and stop depending upon rain for harvest so as they can in markets where Tanzania has many opportunities.
If we talk about productive agriculture, it means in 5 acres a person moves from 10 to, if possible, 50 sacks. There are a lot of factors that have to do with this happening, such as soil strength and fertilizer quality.
Kwanza litambua kwamba hizi ni sekta ndogo ambazo zinachangia sana katika.
I recognize that these are small subsectors, but they play a significant role in the agricultural sector by providing employment.
The Minister of State in the President's Office for Regional Administration and Local Government, Salaam Jaffo, said that the government has prepared a national policy regarding top positions, which will unveil the duties and boundaries of appointed ranking officials. Speaking with the regional commissioner and governing secretaries of the 26 regions of mainland Tanzania, who all met to offer their opinions and recommendations towards the preparation of the policy. Minister Jaffo said that the lack of such a policy has caused politicians and executive officials to interfere in one another's positions, affecting various development initiatives.
There needs to be a resolution policy formed legally that details its boundaries, responsibilities, and how it is to be implemented. We have not reached the sufficient level of success due to this challenge, and that is why the government has decided to use this national policy. I have faith that regional commissioners and regional administrative secretaries will have the opportunity to contribute to this policy.
The Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries has permitted fishermen in Lake Victoria to begin a fish Nile perch larger than 5 centimeters and will prepare a legal procedure that will help them avoid being constantly caught, and so that they can continue to fish other indigenous fish that had been banned.
The person who was caught with a fish with a length of 85 centimeters and above was put into custody. Is that true or not? We have given the permit to anyone who fishes, even if the fish has a length of 1,000 centimeters. No one can say that the fish is bearing anything. Everything is very good, because the market needs the biggest sangaras, and that is why the industries had people exporting to Uganda and Kenya illegally. Our country was losing income. All of the fishes were being sent to other countries. We thank the government for starting up our cooperation, which will help us to fish extensively and also help us in meeting our needs as Kikumbai Taile and Kakanji villagers. Also, we are requesting the government to think of us fishermen, because we live in conditions and the prices for fish are going down all the time.
And the Minister for Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. Hamid, has launched an exercise to place tracking devices on elephants, which will be able to give the exact location of the elephants inside Macau Wildlife Management Area in Meatu District, Simiyu Region.
I'd like to say that the exercise which we have just started now is very important. Yes, it is important because what we have done is to tie a tracking device around the elephants so that it will be easy to locate them in the Macau Wildlife Management Area. However, more importantly, the tracking device will enable us to determine when the elephants are roaming into residential areas, which will make it easier for our wildlife officers to intervene. And I would like to say that as a government leader, we would like to thank the investor for its activities in this area. I must add that some of the young people here have been given jobs as security officers, while others who are more qualified have been offered more professional jobs, even though such jobs are not many at the company. Nevertheless, I would like to state once again that we are very thankful to the Mwiba Holding Company for its investment activities in this area. I would like to say that in cooperation with stakeholders, we at the Tanzania Wildlife Research Institute, TAWIRI, have started a new campaign of protecting elephants by keeping a close eye on them at all times. Therefore, I would like to mention that at the Ruaha National Park, we have tied tracking devices around the collarbone of 30 elephants, At the Ngorongoro Conservation Area Authority, we have tied tracking devices around the collarbones of 13 elephants, while at the Maswa Forest Reserve, we have tied tracking devices around the collarbones of 18 elephants.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows shortly. And in international news, 5 weeks after the launch of the digital registration exercise for Kenyans and foreign nationals, 31 million people have been registered with the government, stating the exercise is expected to end on the 20th, while Kenyans living outside the country will be registered until 20th of this month.
فالدول التي تعتبر دول استقبال.
Morocco is saying that Sahrawi is part of Morocco since independence, but now the people of Sahrawi want to be separated and independent from Morocco. There is no permanent solution. For countries will be practicing poor politics, war, poverty, and hunger will prevail among the African countries.
We do apologize for the mixture of the footage there. That story was about members of the 5th Pan-African Parliament from Sahrawi, and those from Morocco have caused conflicts during the session when the Parliament was discussing the problem of refugees in the African continent. Now we are moving on. Now back in Kenya, 5 weeks after the launch of the digital registration exercise for Kenyans and foreign nationals, 31 million people have been registered with the government, stating that the exercise is expected to end on 20th, while Kenyans living outside Kenya will be registered until 20th of June this year.
Exercise, as you know, has been going on for 5 weeks, during which time...
This exercise has been going on for 5 weeks now. 31 million people, which is equivalent to 65% of the population of Kenya, have been registered so far. However, we are hoping that the exercise proceeds. 40 million Kenyans will be registered by the end of this week. The exercise will be completed on Saturday, the 18th of May, and we have no plan of extending the exercise, because a lot of money is used in paying people who handle registrations. This week, we have begun the second phase of registering Kenyans in the diaspora, where we have distributed 154 machines in 54 countries. And the exercise will continue until June the 29th of this year.
And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly after the break. We'll be right back.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who are creating employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. The government has told the parliament that the exercise to collect property and money that was being stored in FBME Bank, which lost its license, has been very legally challenging between Tanzania and Cyprus, causing delays in collection and distribution of insolvent funds.
Zoezi la kukusanya mali na fedha zilizokuwa zimewekezwa na za benki.
The exercise of collecting assets and money that were deposited by FBME Bank in foreign financial institutions is facing legal challenges between Tanzania and Cyprus, where FBME Bank had a branch operating in the country. This has contributed to delays of collecting and distributing of insolvency money. So far, there is no official date on when people will be paid back what they are owed until all the cases are resolved.
La ukusanyaji mali na madeni ya benki ya FBME.
Fishermen in the country have been urged to come together and start cooperatives so that the group can have an association that speaks for them, unlike now where they face many problems including inability to get loans to improve their activities.
In Tanga region, used NMB Bank where he stole from fishermen, telling them that government subsidies will be collected there. On 12th March, he formulated a group called TFLS, saying that fishermen have benefits that have been rescued by the group. I would like to urge you to formulate fishermen cooperatives, because in Tanzania there are bigger opportunities from the number of lakes, rivers, dams, as well as the Indian Ocean which surrounds us. Fishermen have advanced too far. They no longer depend on water bodies to carry out their activities, as there are man-made dams established for fishing.
Government in Singida to take harsh action to traders who will be discovered to have high prices of goods, especially during the month of Ramadan.
I would like to assure you that food prices will not only rise because we want all Muslims to fulfill their obligation of fasting without any obstacles. Year's Ramadan has been such a blessing to all Muslims. There's a variety of food, which means there is no need to increase prices of food items.
And that is the end of Business News. Sports News follows shortly after the break. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sean Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. Hop, hip it, hip, hop it, don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette.
With Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports news, the mainland Premier League defending champions Simba Sports Club have been held to a 0-0 draw by Azam FC at Uhuru Stadium in Dar es Salaam. Simba are now ahead of against Ruvu Shooting.
We knew from the beginning that we played against a tough team who has today a big motivation as well. They came to take 1 point because you see how they defend, how they try to win time. So they came to take 1 point, and they took 1 point. So regarding that, we have tried everything. We have tried on the right, we have left, we have tried in the middle, we have tried by penetration, we have tried by crosses, we have tried by long ball. We didn't score. So the most important, you know, this kind of game, when you fail to win, sometimes you are punished and you attack like in the end, and you can lose this game.
The National Boxing Commission has decided that Tanzanian boxers will not fight in Kenya following the Kenyan Boxing Authority's decision to still aid Makwela's win despite defeating Kenyan Nicholas Mwani by a knockout.
He won in the ring, and the person with the last authority is the referee. The decision cannot be reached outside the ring. What can be done is a rematch, and if they want a rematch, anytime our boxer is ready, because he has proven that he is better than their Kenyan boxer.
After Sunday's two tightly contested games, 75, the NBA Conference Finals are finally. The well-rested Milwaukee Bucks will face off against the Toronto Raptors in the East, while in the West, the Portland Trail Blazers have the difficult task of attempting to prevent the Golden State Warriors from appearing in yet another finals. Here's more story.
Blazers have to hope that an injured Kevin Durant remains off the court with his calf strain, or is ineffective when he does return. Even if they luck out on that end, they will still need superstar of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum to pull off one of the biggest upsets in recent NBA history. If Steph Curry, Klay Thompson and Draymond Green play with the same chemistry that they did during the old days, they won't even need Durant against the Blazers. CJ McCollum is also an acceptable answer here, and he was the biggest reason his team bet the Denver Nuggets in Game 7, but the Dame is always going to be Portland's go-to guy.
Has expressed in the past his admiration for Ferrari and the paddock of the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend. Questions of a potential future move to the Squadra were once again bandied about. Here are more details.
After his dominant victory at the Circuit de Catalunya and Ferrari's capitulation to the once more all-conquering Silver Arrows, it is difficult to imagine any entity from the sport's most historic marquee that would currently appeal to the British driver. Hamilton completed his victory from his teammate Bottas in second, having beaten the Finn off the start. Having taken the lead through turn 1, it was not to be relinquished. Ferrari's difficult weekend yielded only 4th and 5th for Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc. It continues Mercedes' record-breaking run of 5 successive 1-2 finishes this season and has almost certainly ensured the title is now a two-horse race between Hamilton, who has retaken the title lead, and Bottas.
And Novak Djokovic without a trophy since the Australian Open and distracted for too long by the off-court politics ground down the best young contender in the game as Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-3, 6-4 to win his third Madrid Open and move closer to making history at Roland Garros in 3 weeks' time. Here's more on the story.
His last clay title, remarkably, was in the French Open 3 years ago, when he bet Andy Murray in the final to become just the third player to own all 4 men's majors at the same time. He prepared for that achievement with victory in his tournament, also over this court. Back to near his best now, after a minor dip, he looks fit and confident enough to do it again, which will be some turnaround after an ordinary season. This was Djokovic's 33rd Masters title, elevating him alongside Nadal, 5 ahead of Roger Federer.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.